Hello, welcome to my channel. Today is episode 4 on Higher and Beyond. This is amazing day, and I have again, as always, a special guest that I met online. Well, we haven't met actually in real life, but I'm so admire with who she is because she's an inspiration for me, for my life, and we've been working together also for quite often. And I'm so curious about everything that um yeah, she is in everything about her life. And you know what? I'm just gonna introduce you to all of you who she is. She's an amazing mom, which I don't know. She now is working as a full-time mom, but before she was based on the IT department, and then she changed her job to be a lecturer, and then moved from the other country to other countries, and being a full-time mom job, which is not as a simple, and it's the best job ever in life. And beside of that, she is also as a life coach right now and a brain coach. She's also a skill helping, which, you know, together with me, she's working on the NLP practitioner courses. And then she now is in a colleges as a senior ecologist. I just can't wait to actually have a conversation with her. And I'm going to invite her. Hello there. Priya, how are you?
Hi, Yuni. I am very good, thank you.
Oh,
Thanks for having me.
well, thank you for joining. Oh my goodness. It's been an honor that you are actually make time for me to have this amazing conversation so we can spread the world that um we have a lot of things going on in life, right? And then from people we also learn from people, and then when we learn from it we can also share to the world. So that is the power of the community. So, and yeah, the way that the way it is, right? It's amazing that you make time for me to just be here with me. Thank you very much for that. I really appreciate that.
Oh, I appreciate you for giving me this opportunity. It's an honor to be invited to speak to you. So yeah, I'm excited to
Oh
see how
God.
our conversation goes.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. And well, that's curious, and it's been so inspiring. And I am also personally very, admire that you've been doing. And at the beginning, you were, um, you know, IT science, IT department, and then you've changed your job to be a lecturer, and then being a full-time mom job, and then now you are working on your um, business as a life and brain coach. And then we also together as a member colleges. And I really admire what you're doing. Um, how actually changing and decided to be a life and brain coach, and you know and you've been helping me a lot in life. And I just so you know I've got a lot of inspiration from you. How did you move from that job to that another job, being a full-time mom job, and be a life and brain coach right now?
Okay, so well, to be very honest, when I first when I mean, I was trained in computer science. So when I graduated, I was like part of the systems analysis team. And when I was going to get married, I made a decision, or rather, my husband and I, my boyfriend then, and then my husband now, we decided that I would move into academics. To be very honest, I was not really very excited about that switch because I was really very passionate about analysis. However, because we were looking at a long-term decision where I will be more hands-on if we were to have children and have a family. So I felt that, yeah, it would be a good switch in career because that would give me the flexibility to have more time at home and whatnot. So yeah, I was a lecturer for a couple of years, more than 10 years actually. It was a good experience. I enjoyed having close connection with my students, more in terms of like sort of coaching them, in areas which they were struggling with and all of that. And juggling my kids and home and everything. So it was, and living in a city like Kuala Lumpur, it was quite a hectic life. So there came a point where we had to make a decision. It was that moment where you have to make certain decisions that, and one of it was us relocating to another country. My husband was headhunted. And I decided that maybe it was a good thing for me to completely leave, I mean, my comfort zone, the family, everything that I knew, to just embrace change,
Yeah.
and where I can really fully dedicate to my children. Yeah, so then this is right now, this has been going on for 10 years. I'm a full-time mom. I was a full-time mom, but it was not easy because it's in a new place, new country, different cultures. So you have the experience of bringing up children, which we call the third culture children, where, it's different from if you were bringing them up in your own home country, because then the culture will be almost the same. So there were challenges then, but I feel that that was the main reason for me moving into, one of the main reasons for me moving into the self-awareness area and skilled helping, because as an expat, I used to do quite a bit of volunteering work where I dealt with a lot of people. And during my meets, I encountered a lot of people having a lot of different situations. And yeah, that kind of gave me a calling, was my calling, if you put it that way, to move into skilled helping because of what I went through, my own self-awareness journey. I felt that I was in a position that could really help others who were struggling with accepting who they were within themselves, rather than trying to box into the societal and the kind of conditioning that who we are is what we do, what we have, and all of that. And a lot of people struggle just breaking from these mental models, as I call it. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, a lot of people actually not focusing on themselves, I would say. I personally experienced that myself, because I'm so glad that you actually helped me a lot in realizing how awareness is so much important. I knew that concept, right? Self-awareness from long time ago. And then I thought it was enough. However, that is something that I still need to work on. And I'm so glad that you were there, help me. And then I realized that I've been chasing a lot of things outside of me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I forgot how to be grateful. I was impatient and this kind of stuff. And then I disconnected with myself.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's something that also that curious about that. I heard about the living a life of freedom. You know what I mean? Like by
Mm-hmm.
releasing the chains and especially of self-limiting beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, that living a freedom like that, how do you actually put it that way? I don't know, because I'm also still learning on it. It's not that easy, you know what I mean, Priya? How do you put it that
Yeah,
way?
yeah, it's not easy, but it
Yeah.
is something that you decide for yourself. So if I can share with you a story, there's this guy who was sitting at the in his porch on a
Mm,
rocking chair, and right beside him was his dog. And the dog was like, howling and wailing and all of that. And a passerby passed by and asked the man, why is this your dog? And he said, yes, this is my dog. Why is he howling and yelping in pain? He seems to be in pain. And
mm,
the old man replies that yes, he's very much in pain, um, and that's why he is yelping and, making all those loud sounds.
mm.
And the passerby then just asked the old man, why doesn't he just get up and move away? If it's painful where he's sitting, because he's sitting on nails. There were
Mm,
nails there, you know. And the old man tells him
mm,
that because it's not painful enough. And this is exactly the issue or the situation with most of us. We realize, like what you said, you had the awareness, right? You know what self-awareness means, and you think you have an idea of what it is. But then as you go on with life, you still face all these challenges. And you said it's not that easy.
yeah.
Yes, it's not that easy, but if you rather sit in that pain, you have a choice. You want to sit in that pain, or you want to release yourself from the pain. That is whose choice is it? Is it somebody else's choice or your choice? So
Well,
that's
yeah.
that's the point where you decide, I had enough of sitting on these nails. Nails is just a metaphor, yeah. So
Mm,
it's like for us, the nails is likened to our mental models. And when I say mental models, it's like there are limiting mental models, and there is also a mental model which is empowering. So most of the time, we have an ideal self. We are actually aspiring to be our ideal self. That is the empowering mental model. But what happens is we also have a limiting mental model. Now, what is this limiting mental model? It is all our beliefs, all our judgments, our assumptions, our expectations, conditioning, social and cultural conditioning, our childhood upbringing, all of this. Plus, there are also things like beliefs and diagnoses that people have given you, or certain personality traits, or anything that doesn't serve you. There is also that aspect, that limiting mental model. And what we do most of the time, we listen to we are more bound to the limiting mental model than the ideal self that we aspire to be.
mm,
So again, it's your choice.
yeah.
So if you feel you're okay being or living by the limiting mental model that you have subscribed to, if you're okay living with it, then you go on with it. And that is why you will see that a lot of people suffer unnecessarily. Suffer, I will use the word suffer, because they just choose to be bound by that mental model.
Yeah. I mean, how can we, well, it's not actually fun, and it's not, I don't want to use happy for the word in here, but how can we actually move from that place to the other place if we don't have the idea, or I don't want to change to the ideal myself?
So if you don't want, I mean, if it's down to you and you feel that you don't want to change, then you are going to remain in this place where you are constantly not at peace. So for me, so freedom, what does personal freedom mean? Personal freedom is when you have the autonomy to decide how you want to be, what you want to think, how you want to feel, how you want to act, how you want to behave in a way that is in alignment with your true nature, with your true self, and being conscious in your decisions, knowing that in life there are aspects of life which are in our control. There are aspects of life which are not in our control. So those aspects which are in our control, what are they? It's basically what kind of models are you having in life, I mean, in your mind. And just choosing to subscribe to one that helps you grow, that helps you become better, that helps you live in a very liberated way, rather than always being dragged down, because actually, when we really think about it, okay, if you ask yourself, something happens and you ask yourself, why am I unhappy, or why am I upset? Okay. Most of the time, people will say it's because of this situation, it's because of that person. But the truth is, the situation is neutral. The person can only be the person that he knows how to be, or she knows how to be, based on his past, his upbringing, his beliefs, and all of that. The only thing in your control is your choice of how you want to respond to it. That is totally in your control. Whether you choose to react in just habitual patterns, or you take a step back to consciously evaluate, what do I want to do now? This is a situation which is out of my control, but what can I do now to deal with the situation the best way possible, to bring out the best in me? So you stop looking at what you want to blame, situations, people, everything outside of you, and you start going back inside. But what I do notice is it has to come from within you, that you realize and you're aware that you no longer want to suffer in your own mind. You want to liberate yourself. So then you make a conscious decision. And this is not a linear thing. As you said, you will have days where you dip into like your old patterns, but that's okay. Having the awareness that you have dipped and coming out of it makes you keep changing all these patterns which are limiting, patterns and habits which are not serving. So again, it's whether you choose to stay in ignorance,
Right.
or you choose to go on the awareness path where you keep consistently changing things that you know are not serving you, things that you know are not helping you grow, or which is keeping you stuck where you are.
Wow. It's actually coming back to ourselves instead of blaming the situation, that person, in order to make yourself or ourselves happy, right? And then it's your choice if you want to be an ignorant or if you want to grow yourself. Oh my goodness, this is so deep, but I, oh my God, I can see I have this experience too in myself, right? And the moment blaming other or situation and then finding the happiness into something else. I'm not happy with this situation. I'm not happy with that. I rather blame people, and then I'm gonna find the happiness in something else or with someone else. And then again, this person is not making me happy. And then again and again and then, and it's actually not helping themselves. I mean, once, do you know what is that? So freedom is actually come from self. Is that what you mean? How to release
Yes.
it? Oh, okay.
So basically for me, if you ask me how I define self freedom is when I have that inner knowing, that
Mm,
peace within, that in every moment I have the choice of how I want to be, how I want to respond, how I want to act, how I want to behave, how I want to think. That is totally within me. And so I am stable. I am emotionally independent of the situation or the people. The problem is, right, one of the major reasons why we think it's okay for us to blame is because, okay, you would have heard things like, or if someone shouts at you, you got to shout back or you got to be harsh because otherwise you will seem to be weak.
mm,
Whoever told us this was the truth? See, when somebody shouts at you, if you put yourself in that person's position, it's probably that the person is in a place of pain, is going through something, is coming from whatever conditioning. And by this, I'm not saying that I'm condoning the person to shout at everybody. No, that's not what I
mm,
mean. Okay.
yeah.
I don't mean that I'm saying it's okay for people to go shout at each other. No.
Mm,
But if someone is shouting at you or is in a place where there's so much of anger, we all have many options, you know. We
mm,
can shout back. That means you are just basically just reflecting back what the person throws at you.
yeah.
You're doing the same, right?
Mm-hmm.
They shout at you, you shout at them. So that's one choice, which I think we have somehow been conditioned to believe that that's the way.
Mm,
Okay. Another option is, okay, they shout at us. We can choose to acknowledge that, okay, there's something going on within them. And, you know, I don't want to be sucked into their trap or whatever they are going through. So
mm,
I rather, you know, just send them energy of understanding and healing and, you know, and trying to be as calm as I can, which is not easy for the most or the majority of people because they have not really worked on themselves. If you have worked on yourself, you will know what another person goes through
yeah.
in different situations. So you
Mm,
will realize that people are imperfect. So just as how we are imperfect, and there will be tolerance, and we will know how to address the conflict in a way which is healthy
yeah.
rather than either shouting back or saying things that we will regret, you know. And the other possibility that people also may do, so somebody shouts at you, you don't say anything back, but you take everything and you suppress it within. That's also something that's not going to help you. So in every situation, you have a choice and choose the choice, make the choice based on what feels good for you, you know. So I started experimenting with situations like this where people are not their best self.
Yeah.
And I said that, okay, let's now try to be in charge. I take charge of the situation. So, calm down and try to make the situation in a way that they also calm down. And it is possible. It's just that we don't do it enough to know that it works. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Again, freedom is not just pursuing a happiness. That means freedom. Freedom is based on what you choose. Instead of like what you just gave an example about reflecting back, because we don't know what that people actually going through. And then, yeah, I can see in a society right now, well, especially in my area, right? Well, I can tell that I also just, oh, what are you doing? What happened to you? Why you shouted at me? I instead of like, what is understand that person, I become defensive about that, right? So as this kind of um how do I say this? It's not that easy to actually respond with this kind of situation or circumstances, right? How as a people, as a person, we can learn to help ourselves so that we can have that kind of freedom for ourselves.
Yeah. So I think this boils down to getting back in alignment with who you are at the core. So for me, what really helped me to understand people and to find that compassion and empathy within myself is because when I was going through my own inner struggles, I did a lot of meditation. I've been doing meditation for a long time. I also practice mindfulness, and I do journaling, and I make sure that I have a healthy lifestyle and all of that. So when you adopt this kind of healthy strategies, especially when you start becoming really intimate with yourself, like you start knowing what are all the things that you face, that your insecurities, what are the limiting beliefs that you have, why do you behave in a certain way, and you start realizing that it's because you're probably stuck in some kind of you have, so we all have our experiences, right? We all have our past. So
Yeah.
based on somebody else's experience or based on what we have been conditioned, so we tend to do to subscribe to these things that when you really question yourself, is this really how I believe, or is this true? When you really start asking yourself, and then you realize all the things that you went through, when you look at somebody else, right? You will never be able to look at the other person as just another person. You will see yourself in the other person because you have worked on yourself. You have gone through your own struggles. So you know, okay, this person could be having this. You really don't know anybody's story. All we know about each other is just a snapshot of their lives. Even like, I don't really know my mom's entire life story. I only know whatever I know based on the experiences with her or whatever she has told me. But that also, it's not her truth. So I have that compassion in myself of what I went through, my struggles, my limitations, and whatever. I see that in another person. and I choose to only have compassion in them and to
Mm.
accept them with non-judgment. The reason we all have problems or the reasons we have conflicts is because there's so much of judgment going on. There's so much of assumptions. But the truth is, we really, really don't know another person's entire story. We only know here bits and pieces,
Yeah.
not the full story. So who are we to judge somebody else? So this, for me, how I came to this kind of a state of acceptance is through my meditation practices. Meditation, my whole self-awareness journey, taking the courses on ecology and then yoga, all of this really kind of aligns you back to your core. And of course, my experiences, the times where I've been really very rigid in my thinking, having a fixed mindset, oh, this is what I have experienced, so this is how I have to be. I realized that when I do that, the outcome is something that is not what I want. But when I learn to be fluid, I learn to be flexible in knowing that, okay, in this whole life story, the only one I can truly control is myself. I cannot control the person for shouting. I cannot control a situation that is happening. The only one and only person I can control is myself. So I take full responsibility for my life, my choices, and I have that inner feeling of freedom. I feel at peace because I know at each time I have regulated my own emotions. I'm emotionally independent. I make the choices. So if just say somebody says something and I'm upset, it's not about them. I don't say you have upsetted me. I say that
Mm.
I choose to be upset by what you said. And that's totally and entirely on me, not on them.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
So this is a freedom you're releasing not on somebody else, not on everything else, but me, our limiting beliefs, our mental block, and this kind of stuff that actually going on in life. And then about responsibility for our life, you know, um, well, it's not that easy, right? To actually taking responsibility for self.
Okay, so if I
Yeah,
were to ask you, who then should be who then should be responsible for your life?
that's right. Myself, but something that actually, I don't want to say anything, but it's kind of funny that people are asking for, hey, I can't do this, can you do that? And you do that, you do that, you're responsible of me, and things like that. Again, we pointed out of our finger, the finger to others. So how heavy actually responsibility for self in here? Oh,
Okay, what I would, yeah, I think it makes sense also to realize that everybody operates at different level of awareness, different level of consciousness. If you have done you have done enough work on yourself, you come to a stage where you realize that you rather be empowered and take full accountability for your life rather than live a life where you are constantly thinking that you're a victim of that person and a victim of the other person, or just passing the buck, passing the responsibility to somebody else for your choices and your decisions. You know, it all, as I told you, it all boils down to, do you want to continue sitting on nails?
yeah, yeah,
It's up to you. I
yeah.
mean, like everybody has that choice because at the end of the day, if you're comfortable sitting on nails, go ahead, right?
Mm.
But we need to know that there are other options. We don't need to sit on the nails forever.
Yeah.
Throw the nails, kick the nails away, move the nails, or move yourself out of the nails. You have that choice. But the problem is most people think and say, I don't have a choice, which is really not true. You have a choice in every situation. And I like to share what two quotes that I really love about change and about how we can continuously grow, right? One of it is by George Bernard Shaw, where he says that progress is impossible without change, right? Progress. You want to progress? There must be change. So he says progress is impossible without change, and those who cannot change their minds cannot change anything. And I so agree with that. You see, a lot of people remain where they are consumed with all their problems. It's like it's the world against me. I'm such a victim and all of that. Okay, so you feel you're a victim. What do you do now? Do you stay on as a victim, or you choose to empower yourself knowing that you can make options? So if things are not working the way you want, what can you do about it? You know, this is all back to you asking yourself, what do you want? And I believe you probably also read the book Man's Search for Meaning by
Yeah.
Viktor Frankl.
Yeah.
Remember what he said? He said, even the helpless victim of a hopeless situation where he's facing a fate which he cannot change. Okay, they were obviously in a concentration camp. They couldn't change the situation, but he may rise above himself, he may grow beyond himself, and by so doing, change himself, or rather just free himself, because it's whether you want to live in your mind where it's all this, this has to be the way this was in the past, this was me, so I cannot do this, I cannot do that, or okay, this is my situation now, what can I learn from it? What can I do about it? How do I move forward? And based on my experiences, how can I help somebody else so that they don't go through what I have gone through? You know, we need to start looking at that and just asking ourselves, what do we stand to gain by staying where we are staying as a victim? You see, something I'd like to share, I've been coaching people. So one of the common things that I find coming up is people want to connect meaningfully.
Yeah.
They want to connect meaningfully with people. But their internal dialogue is, I'm an introvert.
Yeah.
I can't make this kind of conversations. I'm boring. I'm this, I'm that. All the limiting beliefs that they have put on themselves. So if you continuously think I'm boring, I can't speak, I'm an introvert, how then will you make meaningful connection?
Yeah.
So first and foremost, for me, I would say you need to be aware. Second is you are fed up. I'll use the word fed up, or you think it's time for you to make that change. You want to break that pattern of doing the same thing over and over again. So you break that. And then you start challenging your thinking. You start questioning why you're facing what you're facing. What is the reason why I'm stuck? Is it some excuses that I'm telling myself? You know, you start questioning, you start challenging, and then you reframe your mind, you reframe your mental dialogue. And by reframing, I'm also talking about affirmations, where you say things based on what you want. And also, again, when you do that, you should frame it in a way or word it in a way that you are already in that way. So like, for example, somebody who wants to make meaningful connection. I am able to make meaningful connections, rather than saying I'm an introvert, I can't talk, I can't do this, I can't that. Keep saying, but it's not just in the words that you say, it's also feeling it from within. So you feel, you think about it, and you act in accordance to that which you actually want. So you affirm. And also, you need to make sure that you are consistent. You keep doing, you keep practicing. You keep, and don't be hard on yourself, because the truth is all of us have been doing the same thing for maybe many, many, many years before we realized that we were doing what we were doing. So
Yeah.
give ourselves the space and the grace to come out of that which has held us back.
Wow. So affirmation, it's a powerful activity, that we can learn to change from the fixed mindset into the growth mindset. I would say from the
Absolutely.
negative to the positive. Well, I believe that people know about affirmation, but again, I love what you've said about say it continuously, consistently, but feel it. Also, don't be harsh. Don't be hard to ourselves. And well, yeah, it's like not that easy to work on the consistent part.
Okay, so you see,
Yeah.
this is also a situation. So you have you keep saying it's not easy. So what are you going to gain by saying it's not easy? It's going to be not easy.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
if you say that, no, I know within myself that I can change, that I will change, and I want to change, you change from it is difficult or it's not easy to it's doable. I can do it.
Right.
And really feeling it, because sometimes people think, okay, affirmation is like wishful thinking. I wish I had this. I want that. You just wish, but then you don't believe in what you want. So it is more of like saying it, believing in it, feeling it, taking the necessary action, of course, in line with it. And also, whenever you find thoughts coming that, because that's what the ego does, right? The ego wants to create trouble within. So you'll have the ego telling you like, oh, no, you see, it's not working. You try a few times, it doesn't go as planned. You say like, see, it's not working. You need to catch that kind of thought and challenge it, or just be aware so that you're breaking the cycle, you're breaking that pattern. Otherwise you will go into habitual habit. It will just be your habit again and again, going in reactive mode rather than responding. Yeah. And
Oh, okay. So reactive mode rather than changing. So every time we catch the negative thought, like start to break it.
yeah,
How do you do that? Like when you catch something negative in ourselves,
you just
I
become aware. Yeah. You just become aware that that thought has come in, and you choose to let it go. Let it go and switch to what is it that you want. So for example, if you constantly get this thought that I'm not good enough, so you're doing your work, everything is going on well, you keep affirming that I am good enough, I am complete, I am, I don't need anything to make me complete. I am already complete as a person. And you say all that, I'm good enough, I'm good enough. And then suddenly, while you're doing something, or you have a situation where someone says something and you feel like, oh, you see, I am not good enough. You immediately catch yourself and say, nope. See, how people are to us is also a projection of them. it's not necessarily about us.
That's right.
Yes,
Yeah.
but what happens to most of us, we feel that somebody tells us something, we take it personally, or it's about us. It can be about them. It could be that we have different perceptions. There's so many underlying things, but we always take it upon ourselves like, oh, we are not good enough. We are not like this. We are not like that. So each time we need to be aware, and certain mindfulness practices, like your breath work, and also I for me personally, meditation is something I would really, really strongly recommend, because and this is my own personal experience. Different people will have different experiences, and I obviously respect that some people may not feel that meditation helps them. But like for me, I started becoming really aware of what I was telling myself while I was meditating. And that's how I realized that I could actually change my internal dialogue. You see, whatever goes on within us, nobody can see, nobody can touch, nobody can hear. You have full control. So do you want to hear nice things, or do you want to hear horrible things? It's up to you. As I told you, it's all about choices.
That's so powerful. Based on your choices. Do you want to choose something that it doesn't serve you, or do you want to choose something that it can serve you and release all of the chains that actually limit yourself in your mental model?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. This is so powerful, Priya, and the more you think about, I cannot do it, I'm not good enough, this is not easy, our mindset, it's going to say, no, of course you cannot do it.
Yeah.
That's why choose the freedom, choose something that can serve you, and then it goes to your freedom. This is so amazing. Oh my God, I love this. And last question for you. What is one message that you would like to share to people who are going through their life, so they can find their freedom, based on themselves, of course? Just one message that you would like to share to them.
The message is, you are powerful. You can achieve and do whatever that you want to do. Do not allow the situation or people to dictate your life. Be empowered. You have the power within.
Wow, this is amazing. Okay, well, thank you very much, Priya, for your time, your insight, and I really learned a lot from this. And yeah, I hope this is gonna help our people at home who's watching us today. And thank you very much for everything. And
Thank you for having me. It was nice
that's so
chatting with
beautiful.
you, as usual.
Thank you very much, everyone. And yeah, it's been beautiful and very insightful from what Priya just shared today. I hope it helped you guys at home. And thank you very much. I see you again soon. Bye bye.